I just saw this TikToker going through Sydney Sweeney's recent run of movies, like maybe the last like 3 or 4 years of her work, completely trashing everything this girl touched. And I guess that's like a popular thing to do now, right? Like the internet loved Sydney Sweeney. They built her up. Now it's time to tear her down. Let me tell you, AKAPADers, I haven't seen one poor performance from this girl. This movie also stars, and we're talking about Echo Valley 2025 on Apple Plus. It's on Apple Plus right now. Apple Plus has been a little bit on the roll. This movie's also produced by the greatest living filmmaker that we have right now, Ridley Scott. But it also stars Julianne Moore. And we were talking about her recently on the Netflix's Sirens. And that was number one for Netflix for a couple weeks. And Sirens, given, we thought that had a supernatural spin. It didn't, by the way. Still fantastic, and she's good in it. Julianne Moore's having this like resurgence in her career. In this movie, she plays a farmer. That's a girl. She's a girl farmer, and you're supposed to hate that because you're saying like how can a single woman like maintain a farm with horses and all this stuff, right? Like that's a lot of work. But she's not growing crops. She's a equestrian trainer, so she trains people how to ride horses, all that stuff. But still, and you believe that she can do it. She has this like stern positioning in her character that's very similar to what she did with Ridley Scott for back in what was it, 2001 Hannibal. She played Clarice. We all know the role, we all know the character. I recently re-explored that movie not long ago. I went through, I don't think I've recorded Hannibal Rising, but I saw Hannibal and her performance in a whole new light. So guys, we do have a great movie here. I want to sit down, I want to talk to you guys about it. And I want to push back a little bit against the Sydney Sweeney narrative that I see everyone dogpiling on. It's just not right. It's not honest. Not truthful. It's the AKAPAD Film Buff Podcast. Get ready for Echo Valley from Apple Plus.
Quiet on the set.
Camera speed.
Sound production. Take one.
Action.
AKAPADers, welcome back to the show of shows. This is the final opinion, the final say in film criticism. Because if you found this feed, if you found this podcast in the many platforms it's available on, I'm going to great lengths to make sure that the Film Buff Podcast is available everywhere. The reason for that is I view what the heart and the soul of the show is very important to the discord that we have around film and streaming. Just the way we look at some of these things, the way that we classify them. I think a lot of the classification is just wrong. I view it all as important. I view as pushing back against narratives. At this point, I feel like I have to add that to the mission statement. But the overall goal of the AKAPAD Film Buff Podcast is to review and discuss and to bring to you every single movie I have ever seen. And we try and do 2 drops a day. That turns out not to be enough. We're looking for other solutions, other ways to bring you more and more in a episodic format, so that you can find what you want. You can pick and choose. We go through tree branches, like excuse me, like we get into themes, and those themes splinter off just like a tree branch. Just for a quick example, we're spending a lot of time going through the Ridley Scott filmography. I do have All the Money in the World, the Mark Wahlberg one, coming from his side. We try and sketch out and build complete views of not only careers, but also movements and ideas within film presentation, I'll call it. Some of you, if you guys want to call it content, call it content. So last night, I'm at the Phils game, and they're mopping the floor with the Mets. Like, what the hell is happening? We're having a great time. Excuse me. We're doing multiple beers. We're just I get like, when your team just keeps winning and they're doing well, you just want more beers. So we had like a couple really good rounds and did 2 solid rounds of food, but spent hundreds of dollars. Like the Citizens Bank Park here in Philadelphia is nothing but expensive. Excuse me. And then one of the things I just love sitting down with people that I'm close with, and you kind of pick their brain. And you used to never be able to do this, but it's like, what are you watching? Like, what are you and the wife? What are you guys doing? He also has a daughter, great kid. But it's like, what are you guys doing in your household? Like, what are we entertaining ourselves with? I grew up in the generation where, you would go to a VHS store. Excuse me. And you, like, just for example, like, you may want Con Air. And maybe you even saw Con Air in the theater. And you just might say to yourself, like, I feel like watching Con Air again. Like, I just want to watch Con Air. But you go to the video store, even a Blockbuster, and they might have 5 copies, 2 copies. Some of the smaller shops, one or 2, and it wouldn't be there. So you would get put on the waiting list. And when that film came in, and the difference with Blockbuster and Hollywood Video is that they would have a computer system. So when something got checked in, they got the retailer, right? The clerk got notified that there was a waiting list, and then they would call you. I mean, a lot of footwork just to get a movie to someone, and you might want to say that the business model, it was eroding from the VHS boom on. Blockbuster was able to expand and monetize every inch of their locations and go to scale, and just again, like, blitz. But eventually that would wind down because it was a lot of effort on the customer service side and the maintenance of the VHSs and later the video games. But like, it might take you weeks to watch a movie if the VHS shop was good. And other than that, you have to spend like a good amount of money buying it, like just getting the VHS. And now the VHS market took a while to catch up to what the rental shops were doing. But the point I'm getting at is that this is a streaming appreciation tangent here, because everything that we absorbed at one time was bottlenecked. So there was only a couple networks, and Fox came along, so we would have 4 major networks, and there were a couple things with cable. But relatively, if you spent a little bit of money, you could catch and watch everything. So you would ask someone, like, oh, what are we watching on TV? It'll be one of 3 shows at 8 o'clock at night, right? Like, one of 3. And you would pick, and it would be easy to everyone kind of fall into a MASH or fall into a Hill Street Blues. But then cable came along, so it was like, all right, and cable was really, what are you watching on HBO? Do you have HBO? And then later, like, Showtime came in with some good originals, and then Cinemax. So this whole consumption expanded. But now, right, it's like you can talk to someone and they can be locked in on items that you never heard of. And that's kind of what happened last night. Like, my buddy was locked into the Department Q and on Netflix, and HBO Max has a new Sherlock show, which I had no idea of. And he's asking me, and I just said, well, look, if you're familiar with Julianne Moore, I always just refer to her as the girl from Boogie Nights, and and I said Sydney Sweeney. He's like, oh yeah, like Sydney Sweeney. She's and he just talks about like how she's always on social, and it's like it's hard to tell how much Sydney Sweeney's selfies are deep fakes or not. It's pretty astonishing. And I told him about this movie. I said, look, Julianne Moore is in this movie called Echo Valley with Sydney Sweeney that I just watched on Apple Plus. I pitched him Apple Plus, pound for pound, so much good stuff. And then I told him about Sirens, her role in Sirens, where I said, like, I thought Sirens was a supernatural movie, but it's really a rise to power movie, and like not movie but series. And I'm like, the more I think about it, the more I really like the way how Sirens unfolded. So like we go back and forth about all that, and then I was asking him, because we're relatively the same age, if he remembers like Boogie Nights and Big Lebowski and Magnolia. And he's like, yeah. He's like, and I was like, look, I've been following, and we were talking about this on the Sirens episode. I feel a little bit closer to Julianne Moore's career than I do most actresses, because, just for example, like I was there for Pretty Woman and Julia Roberts and her rise and expansion into Hollywood, being a Hollywood player. But for me, Julianne Moore and Boogie Nights is that she's an actress. Like, she's, to me, she was always about the role, about the character. And if you look at her entire filmography at this point, she's not in a lot of gimmick movies. She's just in these like fantastic roles, and she has such a transformation here where something does happen with her and Echo Valley, and I don't know what it is, but we've seen Open Range, Kevin Costner. I know a lot of you out there watch Yellowstone, but Kevin Costner sketched out for all of us this lifestyle, this like hard farm cattle working like every single day, sunrise sundown lifestyle. And there's a lot that's appealing for that. Quick side note, I would say maybe the most gimmicky movie Julianne Moore was ever in was Jurassic Park Lost World. But maybe because that's it. We'll be talking about that soon. Like that being a Spielberg comeback movie. I don't know. I just even view it like I'm just looking at her filmography now, and like The Fugitive kind of came out of nowhere. Maybe 2004, but not really. Like I know she's in Hunger Games. One Mockingjay, but then again too, like later in the series, and maybe like the two better arcs of that film series, Mockingjay 1 and 2. It's really wild when you can consider her output, consistency, and everything since 1997. But getting back to the Open Range comparison, is like we know that working on the farm, just like even harvesting like the hay, for example, it's strength, it's work, but it's hard to believe a female character could ever do that by herself, and that's where she is in this movie. And I know there's a side of the world that would rebel against a woman just being on her own doing these things, and I do agree with it. I just think it's this unbelievable scenario, but she plays this character, and I want to say maybe there's other pieces of this movie that could have been cut out via flashback to where she does have a lesbian lover. Ooh, shock. I don't know why. Yeah, to me, that's always hot, but whatever. But that breakup and that passing, or like Julianne Moore kind of being left alone, and what happens is like she has this emotional like doorway or vacuum that's just like open, and her daughter kind of like stumbles back into her life, and like via flashbacks we get a little bit more detail about their backstory, Julianne Moore's previous relationship, and a lot of it just seems recent and sudden. So, and Julianne Moore's just making her way through like a recent tragedy. But Julianne Moore, and here's the point I'm getting at, and yeah, we're a couple minutes in. I don't care. Julianne Moore convinces the audience that she can take care of the horse farm, that she can do the work. I think that's a powerful observation for her character and how well she nails the performance, because there's a legit strength and power that just needs to come through her character, and some of it too is like costume design, like what she's wearing. Like let me see here. I don't know if I even have that credit here. But it comes through, and around social media, I mean, I saw a couple accounts reposting these, like Sydney Sweeney's recent work, and it's kind of like insinuating that she's not doing good work. She's popular because of like her look, but she's not doing good work. Let me just tell you one thing about Sydney Sweeney. In 2023, she made a movie called Reality, about Reality Winner. We profiled it here, and another movie about the real life person named Reality Winner. Go just look that up, educate yourself on that. And it's essentially like a one room play. It's just this FBI or Homeland Security interview, and it's somewhat in a format of a play. And I think she transforms into that role. If we look at her, she's in Reality. Now, after that, 2023, she's in Anyone But You. It's a romantic comedy, but she's good in it. I think she's fantastic in Madam Web 2024. Madam Web gets butchered, right? That movie is dead on arrival. I think Madam Web set things up very nicely for a superhero future. Immaculate, we did this one. She plays a nun. She gives birth to the Antichrist. It has one of the most brutal endings I've seen in recent time. Bloody too. Awesome. She's fantastic in that. 2021. She's in The Voyeurs. Pay attention to that. That's another good one. So I mean, like, we go through, and and again, like, we know her through Euphoria, but then 2021, solid in White Lotus. So it's like, what are we really doing here when we discuss someone's career where she's been active in film since 2009? People knew about her, and this goes to show you how tough it is to really, they call it breaking through for a reason. Euphoria, 2019. She's been in movies 2010, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I mean, she only has 2011 and 2012 where she's not credited in something. So, like, this is where I push back pretty hard, because it's like, how do we want to and she's also in Under the Silver Lake. I wish she has like a little bit more of a cameo in that. We always have to talk about Under the Silver Lake. We do, but like where are we at when we look at a career when we have a movie that stars two women and immediately it's Sydney Sweeney not doing something good enough and a complete forgotten legacy of Julianne Moore that just when it comes to streaming shows and services, back to back bangers in my eyes. Sirens, must watch. Echo Valley, must watch. And we're not even talking about the movie yet. But this film, it's dark. I mean, it's visually dark. Michael Pierce, we deserve conversation about him. Like I said before, this movie's produced by Ridley Scott, written by Brad Ingelsby, and do we have a filmography for him? So let's see. We have Echo Valley. He has, oh yeah, Mayor of Easttown. We have yet to do that on the show. 2021. That was like a little bit of a brutal with Kate Winslet, HBO Max. The Way Back. So here we go. So we're back to The Way Back. We've been talking about The Way Back a lot with Ben Affleck. Awesome. Let's see. American Woman, Run All Night with Liam Neeson. I have seen this. I would have to refamiliarize myself with this movie, but it's somewhat of a like similar in tone, like Out of the Furnace with Christian Bale and Casey Affleck. That's a brutal movie as well. Out of the Furnace and Into the Into the Pines, Out of the Pines. That's a good, the one with Bradley Cooper and Ryan Gosling. That's a good back-to-back feature there. The Dynameter. So he's writing a range of stuff, and I mean, Mayor of Easttown is a one hell of a character study. It really is. So he's there. He's one of the preeminent writers that we have. So we get this movie, and this movie has such a wonderful turn, but it really is kind of a lot of the turn in this movie, and I think it being pushed a little bit as this major crazy plot twist, which is okay, maybe not. To me, a lot of times, when something's labeled as a plot twist, that's the marketing. That's someone kind of seeing an opportunity within the movie to market it. But while you're engaged into the movie, it's not a plot twist. It just seems like a natural evolution to get to the resolution. I wouldn't say that Echo Valley has a plot twist. I would say that very much like Ripley in Alien, and I got sense of that towards the end, which is another Ridley Scott movie. Maybe he's he's got some of his fingerprints on this. But this woman portrayed by Julianne Moore rises to the challenge. She's victimized in slow motion through someone who equally has victimized her daughter. Sydney Sweeney plays the most incredible down and out drug addict, and everything is always something with her, and she just plays that plight so well. I view Sydney Sweeney transforms into the role, but Julianne Moore, she rises to the occasion, and she gets this guy, and she gets out of the situation that she has brought herself into. Done a couple bad things along the way, but kind of for what she views as the greater good. Again, complex character drama. I think this movie's great, and it's another nod to why we have to support these streaming services. And it is a little bit heartbreaking when you hear Apple Plus losing billions of dollars with streaming, HBO Max losing billions. potentially the subscribers for Disney Plus leveling out, not incentivizing a live production. So we're going to turn the corner soon with what people call the streaming wars, which to me it's streaming wars for second place. Netflix was always number one. So there's that. But AKAPAD, I think this movie's great. I think this movie's enjoyable. Go check it out. I don't know, stay off of social forever. But yeah, really enjoyed this movie, and want to see what else we have coming from Michael Pierce, our director, because he did a banger job.
Okay, that's a wrap.